here for the Black Food Tales podcast for another episode. I'm joined by an amazing guest. Do you mind introducing yourself to the audience?
Sure. So the name's Riley Serola. I'm a YouTuber, if you like. Content surrounded around food, travel, and of recent my day-to-day struggles in life, ups and downs, if you like, and it's just something that I enjoy very much. The driving force surrounding it is to bring out content and improve myself, not just as a YouTuber, but also as someone who can actually do videography and editing. So it's something that I'm constantly learning about and teaching myself. And that's the brilliant thing about YouTube. There's so much out there, educational content that helps you. And I can say a good 90% of the stuff that you see on my channel stems from stuff that I've learned on YouTube itself. So,
do you mean like the editing and that kind of thing?
Both editing and video and the video. So the technical, boring, geeky stuff like the lighting, sound setup, certain equipments, and the way that you would move the camera, especially when it comes to like cinematography. The B-rolls that make your content a little bit more interesting rather than bland and insipid. So that, and also obviously the editing side. So yeah. Okay,
cool. Do you mind giving us like a tagline, or like just to summarize, like maybe in like a sentence, like the description of your channel?
The description of my channel. So it's actually on the YouTube channel itself. Food vlogger, travel vlogger, lifestyle. That would be the main caption. Obviously, the main emphasis is food, but also traveling for food and leisure. That's where it is, really.
What made you want to start like getting into YouTube, making videos and that kind of stuff?
Okay, so starting from the beginning.
Yeah.
Back in 2012, summer 2012, a couple of my mates, my boys, we went to Ayanapa, and we were just fooling around with the camera, like just something that we did. And when we got back, I decided to put everything together. I had minimal knowledge on editing, and from that was able to put something together just for us to lament on memories, put that out on YouTube. This was under a different name, by the way, and I forgot about it. The next thing I knew, this video was getting like up to 50,000 views, and I was thinking, wow, people are interested in this type of content. Maybe I should make this a thing. But I thought to myself, bringing out regular content on travel is not realistic. Excuse me. It's not very realistic. I'm going to need something else. And that's when I thought, well, I love food. I go to loads of different restaurants. I like, one of the things that I find really exciting is trying a new place and seeing whether, if it's just all hype or if it's really, really good. And so I thought, okay, I could surround my channel on that, and when the opportunity comes to travel, I'll slot that in as well. So that's how this channel was born. Yeah.
Okay. So I guess talk to us about like what is the future gonna hold for your channel? Any plans that you have for the future?
Well, short term, it's just really obviously a numbers game. It's just to grow the channel organically. Like, I'm not trying to get there fast by some people will buy channel views or subscribers or anything like that, but I think in the long run that actually hurts the channel. So for me, it's just about growing organically, doing what I love, which is trying different places, reviewing them, etc., traveling when I can, and just really concentrating on becoming better at videography and editing. I understand that a good portion of my subscribers probably watch me more for my personality more than anything, but I do think that the videography and the editing, like that whole cinematography, is an important thing, because in the long run I would like to see myself not stepping away from the vlogs, because that's something that I will always do. But we don't know the future of YouTube in 10 years, 15 years from now. We don't know. So I don't want to put all my eggs in one basket and just rely on that. What I would like to do, and what I would like to see myself doing in the future, is, you know, doing video content at, you know, weddings, at various venues, maybe even doing music videos, because you know, I do have some connections with like some people in the underground, and that's something that I did do in my past life. So that, and obviously just for the channel to grow more.
You know, it's interesting what you said about your personality, because I just said before we jumped on camera, or audio if you like, that I felt like that I already know you just from watching your videos. And I think that's an amazing experience that you get from watching anybody that vlogs or creates like regular content online. You just almost warm to the person, you know, that you feel like you know them. And I think that's great for building communities, if you feel like you can break barriers through
Most
creating
definitely.
content. Is that something perhaps you know agree with, or?
Yeah, I definitely agree, because you know, I had the same feeling when I met you. Obviously, I've seen some of your videos, so you know, the feeling's mutual. It's just a beautiful thing, really, that because you know, you can reach out to so many people all around the world that you haven't necessarily met, but you feel like you have met. And you know, one of the things that I really do find quite rewarding is when my subscribers, you know, they comment on my channel, and you know, they're asking about certain things, or they're commenting about how well the content is, and you know, giving me words of encouragement. That's really that's a driving force for me. Other than like the missus, who's always encouraging me to do it as well. It's just nice that, you know, it's refreshing that you bring out content and people comment on it.
You know what's really interesting on that? I remember like when I first started making videos, no one would comment. And you see, even though it's a tiny amount of views that I may have got on my channel, I got no comments. And in my head, I'm thinking like, I needed to know, even if it's bad, I just need to know if it's bad, or I need to know if it's good and stuff like that. But what's interesting, I realized that I'm also the person that watches a lot of videos without commenting as well.
Yeah.
But you don't realize when you're the creator, the shoe could be on the other foot.
Yes.
So as a result, I've tried to start commenting a bit more, because I believe like feedback is someone's oxygen as a creator, just to know, you know, is this good? Is this good content? Do you want to see more of this? Do you want to see more of that?
Yeah. And not only that, but you know, when you make that habit of commenting on other people's channel, that's another way of them noticing you, and it's also a way of their subscribers or their viewers noticing you, because obviously, you know, when you do, and this is not like, oh, you're just trying to get subscribers or whatever. It's just it's just an authentic and organic way to grow. You know, because it's all about networking. That's what YouTube is about. And so when you're commenting on someone's channel, other people see that, and you know, they might hover over it and they say, oh, this person's got X amount of views, or it might have a little caption of what you do. They might be tempted to click, and then that's how you could have built, you know, another fan or support, if you like.
No, 100%. I think I agree. I think if the intent is authentic, by commenting on other people's channels, bringing value and stuff, by all means, it's just another way of people coming to find you and getting to know about your channel and stuff like that. So, what I'm curious about, I'm gonna narrow it a bit, because obviously, as of recent, as you've mentioned, you've done a lot of. Would you call it vlogs, or you call it a show, or how did you describe it?
Yeah, I would call them vlogs.
Vlogs, yeah?
Yes,
okay.
I would call them vlogs.
So you've done a lot of vlogs where you've visited like various different types of restaurant. Like, out of all of the ones perhaps you've visited, let's say in the last 18 months or so, which one are you most passionate about? Like, where was your best experience?
The last 18 months. That's a lot of restaurant. That's a lot of food.
Yeah, by all means, you've got time.
I mean, there is a place that sticks in my head. But I'm not sure whether that was 18 months ago.
Okay, where was that?
Chino Latino.
Chino Latino, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
It's a Pan-Asian restaurant.
Yes.
Based on the Embankment. Near Victoria. So not near Victoria, what am I talking about? Between Vauxhall and where you would end up at Westminster.
Okay.
Park Plaza Hotel.
Okay.
Yeah. The restaurant's inside that hotel. Park Plaza.
Is this near the park?
The park?
So wait, you said park
Park Plaza.
Park Plaza. I'm thinking of somewhere else. Sorry, I'm thinking of Marble Arch area, but no, you're a completely different area.
No. So you must know the road, the main road that leads you from Westminster Bridge to Vauxhall Bridge. Like there's a main road.
I'll be honest, I don't know that area too well. But go on.
Yeah, so Chino Latino, it's a Pan-Asian restaurant. I remember going there and leaving in a food coma, like I ate too much. And I'm a big meat eater. Yeah. Right? I do like fish. I do like some vegan dishes, some veg. I'm very open-minded. But, one of my favorite meats, it would be either lamb or beef.
Okay.
Slow cooked. I just love something that's slow cooked. It's tender. Time and effort has been put into it, and I love that way it just melts in your mouth. And so I remember going there and having I think it was a short rib. Okay. Beef short rib. Yeah. I had that. So it was sort of like a sharing experience. So we had a beef short rib, but we also had the black cod.
Black cod is nice.
Let me tell you, the beef short rib was sublime, but the black cod, it blew out of the water. Yeah. It was absolutely delicious. It was so tasty. And it had that melting in your mouth action going on as well. And it wasn't heavily seasoned, but what it was seasoned with, I can't really remember what it was seasoned with actually. It was some kind of glaze. It worked well. Beautiful. So that place does stand out to me. But then there's a lot of other places that I would say are really, really, really good.
That place you went to, was it expensive?
Well, expensive, that's subjective, isn't it?
Okay, how much are we looking at for I guess, a meal?
For a meal? For one person?
Yeah, for one person. Yeah.
For one person, you probably spend about £30 to £40.
That's not bad.
I'd say it's mid-range. It's not like your Hakkasan or but I think it's good value because the portion is sensible. It's not massive portions, but it's a sensible portion. And if you're going there, I do recall when I went there with the missus, it was just us two, and it's actually on the channel actually. I do recall we spent just over £100, and that included drinks. And you know how drinks can be quite expensive. So it was a very good experience, and I'm counting on the time that I go back there. Yeah.
Cool. You mentioned Hakkasan as well. Like Hakkasan's definitely one of my favorites. I've not been to the one here. It's in UK. In Mayfair in UK, right?
There's two in the UK.
I didn't really realize. No.
There's the original one, the first one. Okay, don't quote me on this, but this is what I feel. I think I did read that the first Hakkasan was actually in London. The first ever Hakkasan around the world was in London.
I have a funny feeling, if I remember the story correctly, it was, and he had some issue getting funding.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, so the original one is in Fitzrovia. It's just behind Tottenham Court Road. Okay. Then there's the one in Mayfair. And I know that when it comes to Hakkasan, a lot of people talk about the one in Mayfair. I decided to go to the one in Fitzrovia because I heard it was the original and I wanted to, experience the original. And from my experience, and obviously, mind you, you probably know this, but like the menus are slightly different in each of their different locations.
I didn't know.
Yeah, the menus are slightly different. So my experience was it wasn't that great. I'll be honest with you. Yeah, I'm not afraid to like people. They'll say, "Oh, this place," they'll swear by it and say it's great, but I'm not afraid to say, "No, I'm just not feeling it." Yeah. And I'm a type of person. If I go to a place once and I didn't really have a good experience, I'll give it another chance because sometimes a restaurant can have a bad day. It can have a bad day, and also it might be down to what you ordered.
That is very true. Sorry, I'll let you finish before I...
It can be down to what you ordered, and obviously we went for a certain set menu, and I just felt like it was all right, and I felt that the experience was good. Obviously the layout, the ambience is beautiful. I like the way that it's dark in there, but you've got certain lights that they just key certain areas. It's very, very intimate. It's cozy. It's it's amazing. But in terms of the food, I just thought it was okay. And for the price that you're paying, I just felt like it just wasn't worth it. Because I've been to other places like where you fork out a lot.
Yeah.
And I've had a much better experience flavor-wise, and I'm all about the flavor. But I've said to myself, I will go there again, maybe go to the Mayfair one and go for maybe a more higher ticket set menu.
So the one I went to wasn't in the UK. I went to the one in Miami.
Oh.
And that, I can't lie, it blew me away. This was many, many years ago, so I couldn't even tell you like what I ordered.
Right.
But I just remembered like the food, the service, and also what you mentioned about like the ambience. Like it felt like just like little spotlights here and there, and it just like it was just like I was blown out this world with the food. Maybe I should try it here and just see what the comparison's like. I think it's interesting what you just said about, you know, trying a place a new time. And it made me realize that with food, I guess, versus like other products, like you become very emotional, I think, when you walk through the door as a person. Almost like, you into football?
Not so much now.
Okay.
Back in the day, I used to really be into the football,
Who was your team?
but Man United.
Man United, yeah. I was sworn enemy, Arsenal. But what I was going to say is almost like a football team or supporting like a sport or your national team when it's like the Olympics or World Cup as it is now. When they bring your food, it's like you become emotionally like it should be perfect. You know what I mean? Like my service, like I asked for something, bring it to me. Do you know what I mean? And it's just interesting that you have that, and you can also defend a restaurant like that when you've had a great experience like that as well. Is there anywhere perhaps in London that you would consider homely or really inviting, I guess, for like the customer service or where they looked after you?
In London?
Yeah, in London.
Okay.
Actually, you know what? No, we got international listeners, like anywhere in the world that you've been to.
There is a place that comes to mind, but I can't. I think it was called Comme Chez Soi.
Okay.
I think that's French, but it wasn't actually in France. It was in where is it? Budapest.
Okay.
The food was good. It wasn't amazing. It wasn't out of this world.
Yeah.
But the customer service blew me away because, you know, when we entered the place, you know, we were seated immediately. They took our orders. The food didn't take long to come, and it was just so courteous and so polite. And I remember, because I was with the missus, she ordered something and then she decided she didn't want it. And she did ask for the waiter's advice about, you know, what dish she should select, and he recommended a dish and she went with it. So when she decided she didn't like it, this waiter is apologizing profusively to her, going, I am so sorry. I selected it for you. I am so sorry. I will change it for you, whatever you want. And it's like, this is a bit too much. This is a bit too intense. And even when we finished our dish, you know, there was no rush to make us leave. And they even gave us some limoncellos. I'm not sure if you know what limoncello is.
Nah, what's
It's
that?
like it's an Italian liquor that's made with lemon juice.
Okay.
It's very, very sweet, but it's very strong.
Okay.
Best thing I could compare it to is like a lemon sherbet.
Okay.
And gave us that on the house. And you know, even as we were leaving, he was like, they were ushering us and said, see you soon, have a great evening. And it's just like, wow, that really just made my night.
It's interesting. Those tiny little things are memorable. I remember there was a restaurant, an Italian restaurant I used to go to. They always used to give us like free desserts, you know. And I probably ate there like 2-3 times a week, but the free desserts, they didn't have to, but it just makes you feel like special.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like it may not even cost them much, but it just made you feel special.
And sorry to interrupt, but I mean, that's why it's called hospitality. Like the whole restaurant business, it's under the bracket hospitality. So you're supposed to be hospitable to the people who come in. Give them a good experience, they're going to come back.
So you know what you just mentioned about returning a dish? I don't know if you would agree with this or not, but for me, I don't know. It's not necessary. You know that London polite or the English politeness that you might not complain or say something's bad or something like that. So if you get a bad dish, you might tell them, oh, it wasn't for me, but you might not necessarily return the dish.
For me, it depends.
Okay.
For me, it depends. Like, if I'm going to a standard place like, TGI Fridays or Nando's or, you're not splashing out a lot of money on that. And it's, and the food isn't the best, then I might just be like, yeah, it was all right. I'll just eat it, whatever. But if it's abysmal, like if it's terrible, if there's something really wrong, I am going to send it back. There was a time I went TGI's. They served me a burger,
yeah,
and one chip.
One chip?
Single chip on the plate. Single chip. And to me, it was just like, this is ridiculous. Like, you as a chef, you've put that on the plate, and then you as a waiter has picked that up. You've seen it, and you've dismissed it, and you've just decided to serve it to the customer. It's like the whole team has fallen apart. It's not just one person who's at error there.
Yeah.
And I was already fuming because they made us wait 20 minutes for a seat that we could already see was vacant.
Yeah, okay.
So that really peed me off. And so, I made a big complaint about it, and the lady was like, what do you want me to do? Do you want me to make you another dish? I was like, yeah, not only do I want you to make me another dish, but I want everything on the house. And I got everything on the house. And I feel like sometimes you do need to complain. So, because if you don't complain, you're not going to get anything for it. On a contrast, if I go to a fine dining restaurant and there is a small thing wrong with it, again, I will complain because it's a high ticket item. I'm paying a lot of money for that, and so I expect it to be perfect. When it's a mid-range place, then I don't know, it's a toss-up really. It just depends the mood I'm in. Sometimes I'm so hungry that I can't be bothered to complain, and I'll just eat the food.
On complaints, so I had two interesting experiences. So I guess I've never really sent food back.
Okay.
But I remember I was with a previous partner who was from abroad. I remember when she was here, we went to a restaurant. It was some pizza place, I think. It was pizza place. She tasted the food. She didn't like it. She was like, no, she doesn't want it. She wants to change it. And in my head, I'm thinking, how do I tell them, she doesn't like it, so she just wants to change it because she doesn't like it.
Right.
But this level of customer service of being you don't like the taste, I'll change it for you, I found is perhaps more commonplace in the States. Do you see what I mean? I don't know. In the end, what happened is we returned it, they changed it, there was no issue at all. Right. But it just was it was a new experience for me. I wasn't used to that.
I used to be in that place.
Oh, okay.
I used to be in that place. You find it almost embarrassing.
Okay.
I can't send this back. I was the one who picked this food. How can I send it back? I'm the one who chose it. It's not their fault that I chose it, and I don't like it. But I feel like because I've been going to so many different places, I've just become a bit numb to it. So at the end of the day, I'm like, well, I'm forking out my money. If I don't like it, then I'm just going to return it because I'm paying for it. And, it's a service. It's not like a quick take. And even in a takeout, you go to McDonald's, for example, if there's something wrong with your burger, you're going to go back and say, listen, there's something wrong with my burger, and they're going to give you another one. So
on that sending stuff back, I remember there was a time I went to Gilgamesh. It was a Pan-Asian restaurant that was down in Camden. You ever tried Gilgamesh?
No, I haven't actually.
Gilgamesh, I think they've closed down now. I think they had an issue where the landlord didn't renew for them or something. But that food, that was mind-blowing. I think they may be looking to open up a new one. I'm not 100% sure. But I remember I went there with my boy, and they had dishes with smoke would pour out and all this crazy stuff. Okay. Yeah, but there was hair in the food. But I was caught between I don't know if it was obviously I don't want to turn this into a race thing, but I was conscious of I don't want to be look like the black guy in the restaurant complaining, trying to send stuff back. Do you know what I mean? So I mentioned it to the dude. And to be fair to them, like the manager, the restaurant manager at the time, he was on point. Gave me his personal card. Told me I can call him next time. He'll sort me out, if anything like that. I didn't make a big deal of it, but again, it's just going above and beyond to make sure that your customer felt happy, which I did.
Yeah.
So we've spoken about, I guess, like the food of like other cultures and stuff like that. I'm curious, like where are you from? Where's your background origin?
I think it's no secret. I'm Nigerian.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know what? Your football kit at the minute, like for the World Cup, have you seen it?
Yeah.
It's on point,
Yeah.
I'm not Nigerian, but I would 100% rep that kit. Yeah. It apparently sold out in what, like 2 hours or something like that, or maybe in under an hour. But that kit is serious. Big up. Hopefully we'll see more of like African print integrating into like other things and stuff like that.
Yes, definitely.
So I guess like growing up, like we'll start from I guess your when you were small, like growing up, like what kinds of food did you enjoy eating?
When I was young, I was a very fussy eater.
Okay.
I was a very fussy eater, and I was actually very skinny. Obviously, I was forced to eat my mum's food, traditional Nigerian food, which I wasn't particularly too keen on when I was young, mainly because it's one of those things where, like, you would have rice and stew, and like if once the stew has been sitting in the pot for a while, I don't really take to it. Or pounded jam, something called amala, which is there's two ways of making it actually. It could be dried, what's it called? Dried cassava. Could be dried plantains, and actually it could be dried yam as well. But it's almost black.
Okay.
I loved that growing up. Like it could physically make me vomit growing up.
Okay.
It's strange because like my attitude towards it now is totally different. Like I can eat abala, like pounded jam, something called eba, which I don't actually know what it actually is. Like because when you make it cold, you probably, I don't know if you've heard of gari.
Yeah.
But if you add hot water, it becomes something called eba. Okay. So it's eaten the same way as pounded jam. You know pounded jam?
Yeah.
Pounded jam or fufu or whatever. So I was very much more into like your traditional, British foods, pie and mash, fish and chips, chicken and chips, that sort of thing. That's what I liked eating growing up. Well, I'm talking about when I was like really, really small. It was only probably when I was in my teens that I learned to really appreciate African food. I always liked, your jollof rice, your fried rice, because I'm not sure that Nigerians have a fried rice as well.
So I don't particularly know exactly like the Nigerian fried rice, but if it's any, I know some of the foods may overlap slightly with like Ghanaian dishes, because I spent some time in Ghana, and the fried rice there, like I know that kind of fried rice, and they might put like some beef in it. Is it like that?
Well, the way we make it, it's a similar method to jollof rice.
Okay.
You just abstain from putting the tomatoes in there, of course.
Yeah.
It still has the onions. It has a lot more oil. I don't know why it's called fried rice, if I'm honest with you, because it's not really fried. Yeah, you do add a lot of oil, onions, peppers, like Scotch bonnet peppers and whatever. That does fry in a pot, but then you add the rice with the water, so it's more steamed, and then you add the vegetables, so it's mixed veg. Some people like putting kidneys in there, like cut into little pieces. Prawn, shrimp. Not really so much beef. Maybe beef would be on the side, just like you would with jollof rice. You'd have the beef on the side or the chicken on the side or whatever. So yeah.
Jolloff's definitely one of my favorites,
Jollof.
Like, yeah.
I saw the way you was munching that jollof from 805 on your.
Yeah.
I saw that.
Yeah.
I saw that. It's I don't know. It's rich. It's very filling. It's just home.
Yeah, 100%. And it's interesting what you said about you used the word forced to eat earlier. You mentioned like I guess food from Nigeria, because when I was growing up, my background, I guess my parents are from Jamaica. My mom always used to make soup. She still makes soup, but I couldn't leave the table until I finished my soup. You have the same
You're
thing going on.
bringing back memories. You're bringing back memories.
Do you know
like,
what I mean? And it's like, if you don't like it and you're there, and literally, I'd have to be sent to bed because it's coming up to like 9, 10 o'clock. I'm not moving from this table because I'm not eating the soup. So I have to be sent to bed. And it's just like, for years, I didn't actually like, or I'd actually say, yeah, I don't like Jamaican food because of not force fed, but it's like when you eat the same thing every week, it got boring. But at the same time, look, there were some dishes that I tried that my mum used to make, and then I went and tried it elsewhere, like at a restaurant or other people, and I was like, oh, there's another take on making it, and it was like, oh, this is delicious.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And that's when I started to perhaps be more open to trying food from back home.
Okay.
If you see what I mean. So you mentioned 805 there. Is there any Nigerian spots in London that you really, really like?
I'll be honest with you.
Yeah.
I'm yet to find a Nigerian restaurant that has blown me away. I'll be honest with you, I'm not particularly impressed with any of the Nigerian restaurants I've been to. Obviously, there was a place that I reviewed of recent, I Go Chop, which I do think is decent. Like I'm not gonna bash it because I don't think it's a bad place. And I feel that, you know, people who have not had jollof rice, if they go somewhere like there, will like it. I think equally probably with 805, although I haven't been 805 for a very long time, so I can't really comment on that. But I feel that me as a Nigerian man who has probably been eating jollof rice since I've been in Pampers, obviously my expectations is very high. So maybe that makes me a bit too... what's the word I'm looking for?
Critical?
Too critical. Yeah, that's the word I'm looking for. Maybe it makes me too critical because I could make jollof rice at home. So the way I look at it is, if I'm going to go out and eat jollof rice at a restaurant, it needs to be above my standards of what I can cook at home, because if it's not as good as what I can cook at home, why am I paying for it, kind of thing. I mean, you do have the notion that, okay, you know, it does take time to cook it and it's the convenience, you can go to a place and grab it. Yeah, you've got that. But even then, it needs to be at a certain level for me. And I feel that Nigerians as a whole, because we've been in London for a while now, like, you know, we have been here for a while. And I feel like things are changing now, but historically, we haven't been the best when it comes to like marketing our stuff. I mean, you just look at, and you actually, do you know what? I would say this would cover Africans as a whole, and maybe even Caribbeans as well. Like, you look at things like when we go out to buy hair products or, you know, or food, who are we going to? We're going to the Asian man. Why is the Asian man selling our food? Why is the Asian man selling our hair products, our cream products? Surely there's something wrong with that. They've been able to market themselves in a way where they're able to sell their own stuff and they're able to sell our stuff. And I just don't like that. Like, I feel like Africans and Caribbeans, we should really be making a way of doing that ourselves. And I have seen a little shift, not so much with the hair and, you know, the cosmetic stuff, but more with the food. I am seeing more Nigerian restaurants, you know, Ghanaian restaurants. I feel like Caribbeans, they've been doing that for a while. So like, obviously, when it comes to English people, they know about, you know, the rice and peas, the jerk chicken. They don't know too much about all the other stuff that Caribbeans do, but they do know about the, you know, the main thing. Jollof rice, it's only now like people are starting to talk about it, especially outside of the black community. And I feel like we just need to market ourselves better, you know, make our restaurants look appealing, make them not just for our black people, but for people worldwide, you know. Not everybody has a taste for very spicy food. I have a taste for very spicy food. I love spicy food. But if I'm going to have a restaurant selling jollof rice, for example, I'm not going to make it... It's either I'm not going to make it very spicy, I'll make it like a perfect middle ground, or maybe I will perhaps have one that's very spicy and one that's mild. Because I don't want to put off people who can't stand spicy food. I want them to try. I want them to experience the food, you know. And I feel like that's what we really should be doing to try and capture more people.
You mentioned a few things there that I wanted to touch on.
Yeah.
So one, the bit about like if you're going to go out to eat this jollof, like it needs to be on point because you can obviously make this at home and stuff like that. And why that's interesting is because I remember I went to Mangarooms in Camden.
Right.
They closed down. I think they recently opened again in the last 6 months or so. I haven't been to them as they reopened. I took some family members there. I enjoyed the food, you know, I thought it was good. Some family members were like, it's not that great, like I can make this at home, you know, da. But for me, it's kind of like encompassing or you're not expecting the world when you go out to eat these dishes because obviously you know what it tastes like traditionally. Do you know what I mean? So unless you're going to go to, we spoke about Hakkasan earlier, the Hakkasan of your food, you might not be expecting the best.
Yes.
When you go, but I still appreciate anybody that's trying to do, you know, something within our space, if you like. Another thing that is interesting as well, which you touched on, is like other cultures embracing what we do or what we have, whether it's hair or food, and selling it. And you've touched on like perhaps that we should be doing that, so to speak.
Yeah.
I got an interesting take on that. It might be contrary or different to how
Okay.
you think, but you know, this forum is all about debate, and
Of
you know,
course.
my opinion is good, and what I mean by that is that if we as a people are sleeping on the idea, let somebody else go out and make money off it. In my opinion, I think it's like take that risk, go out there and do it yourself. The reason why I say that is there's so many people perhaps within the community that talk with no action. Do you know what I mean? And if these people were prepared to take the risks that some of the people from other cultures have taken, then it may transpire that they will be able to sell said hair product or sell this dish or whatever. I just feel that it's more about people being a bit more proactive and, you know, doing things as opposed to just talking. Do you see what I mean?
I see what you mean. However, why I throw that as an argument is the fact that you look at any other race, they sell their own stuff. It seems as though the black people are the only race that have allowed other races. No, we're getting a bit controversial here, but you know, I'm not afraid to speak my mind. But we are the only race that allow other races to make money off our stuff, so to speak, or things that we use on a day-to-day basis. Like, for example, like there's no way you're gonna go to a Chinese herbal medicine place and you're gonna find that the people who are actually running the business are white or Indian. You're not gonna see that. You know, in contrast, you're not gonna go to a place where I don't know, like I'm trying to think of another example whereby like maybe something that white people rely on. I don't know.
I know exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
mean.
But like, I'm not saying that it's a taboo for other races to sell it. My point is the fact that black people as a whole have almost allowed it to be
I get what you mean. So basically,
they've allowed it to be almost hijacked. You see what I mean? Because it's one thing if you know, I go to the high street and I can see a lot of I can go to various stores where there are black people who are selling, you know, the black food or the black cosmetics or whatever, and then you might find some Asian or white people selling that as well. Might be a bit odd, but you know, that can happen. But it's another thing where you may be seeing one person who's doing it, but everyone's going to the Asian man, because the way they've marketed it and the way they've set up their shop, it's just a lot more convenient than going to, say, I don't know, Tunde who owns. Because I remember growing up in Peckham, there was actually I can't remember the name of the shop, but it was a big shop that had a whole load of cosmetics and everything, and it was black owned. But all the other shops on that high street, they're all Asian owned. And I don't know, it's sad. Something happened, like something dodgy happened basically, and what had actually ended up happening was they lost their license, that got shut down, and now you won't find any black owned, not that I've seen anyway.
So on that, what I think is perhaps a bit unique. So I guess gonna do this in two halves. I'm gonna talk about the glass being half empty, and I'm gonna talk about the glass being half full. And the glass being half empty bit is that, for example, like I live in northwest London in Harrow, to be very specific, a place called Kenton. Do you know Harrow at all?
I know of it.
Okay, cool.
I know of it. Yeah.
So other end of the Bakerloo line or the
far.
Metropolitan line. Yeah,
I think I've only been there once.
Okay, cool. So generally, I think even if you look at like government censuses, if that's the right way to say it, it's predominantly a very Asian or Indian area. But in where I live, it's not a busy town. I.e., like after like 6, 7, like it's a ghost town.
Okay.
Compared to like East London, where it's go, so to speak. And literally about 5 minutes from my house, a ice cream shop just opened up. It's I guess an Indian or Asian ice cream shop. Now, it's only been open perhaps about a couple of weeks, but slowly, it's busy. You know, the Asian families I see going in there, and everybody supporting themselves. And the truth is, unfortunately, in the middle of nowhere,
right,
had like some black guys have opened this little ice cream shop, yeah. We would not be coming out of the woodwork to go to support our own ice cream shop.
That is true.
Unfortunately, what they've had the benefit of is uniting to go to shop with their own, yeah. So that's the glass half empty bit I'm talking about, yeah. The glass half full bit, which I'm going to talk to, give this a bit of a positive spin. I think, because you mentioned the word earlier about hijacked, a lot of other cultures, the hijack. I think by saying or using the word hijack is to highlight that there's something of significance. Because you're not going to hijack something that's unimportant.
Yeah.
And I think that we're moving into a very unique time where our generation, if you like, I don't want to call it taking back, but they're seizing the opportunity. There's a big like movement with like Twitter, especially what they call hashtag Black Twitter, or on Instagram to support black-owned businesses, or to support black culture, so to speak. And I think we're transitioning into a time where seeds are being planted, where we can get the kind of hospitality experiences that we want, because, for example, like my parents, they're not used to fast casual dining.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? That kind of like Ask, Prezzo, Nando's, that they'll go, but that's not what they grew up with. We've grown up with that, I feel. Tell me if you think I'm wrong, but I think we've grown up with that. So any kinds of like the dining experiences that we create at the moment will have that as like a bare minimum standard. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if you look at like is it Crepes and Conan?
Crepes and Cones.
Yeah, they just open up this ice cream shop. Look, everybody from in and even outside the communities hitting up the place. They had queues for miles.
Yeah, but I feel that's because it's Crepes and Conan. I mean, you can say black owned, that drove it more, yes, but it's Crepes and Conan.
So on that, what I think is unique about, I guess what we're both doing, is creating content.
Yeah. We're
creating brands, we're creating awareness, and off the back of that, you're building a community. Do you see what I mean? So what I mean by that, so for example, like I just had like last week like a brunch and day party, yeah, and I remember when I sold my first ticket. That first ticket I sold was a complete stranger, yeah. And for all the tickets that I did sell, that was the most exciting one to me. And the only reason why that was the most exciting one to me is because that person does not know me as a person. The only thing that can make that person trust me is the content.
Yeah.
At some stage, they must have had faith in the brand to say, you know what, the Simba will deliver. I'm going to depart with my cash.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And even not necessarily getting into like how you can like monetize your YouTube or whatever, but even like with what you're doing with your vlog, if you one day said, you know what, we're gonna have a food tasting, we're gonna create this kind of event, people, I strongly believe, people would part with their cash because they would see you as either an influencer or curator of what is good food. So they put faith in you to create these things. And I think what's unique about Krept and Conan is that, yeah, it's Krept and Conan, but through their content, i.e. their music, they've created a reputation. So what I'm saying is that content is now the gateway to reputation that allows us to create food, cookbooks, restaurants, all of these kinds of things.
Most definitely.
So that's why I think we're in the position or transitioning into a unique time.
Yeah, and social media is a very powerful thing. I feel like in this day and age, if you don't have an online presence in some form, then you're not doing anything right. And you can see it with all these established businesses that have been here for hundreds of years, that have been on the high street. They've not had a proper presence online, and they're suffering. With the likes of companies like Woolworths, with the likes of companies like Blockbusters, RIP.
Toys R Us.
Toys R Us. Our young ones, they're not gonna know about these shops that we grew up on. Like that's very much nostalgic.
100%.
But you are right. You are right about that with the whole reputation with Krept and Conan. You would expect the food to be good, and I guess that's the reason why people have been flocking there. And it's interesting because I'm seeing a lot of positive news about Krept and Crepes and Cones. I'm seeing a lot of positive reviews, but I have seen some negative reviews as well. And I feel like you can't please everybody, and even the most fabulous establishments will have bad reviews. But I think for me, it's definitely going to be a place I need to go and see, because some of the negative reviews have been quite there's been a pattern of those negative reviews. And so it'll just be interesting for me to see what it's like. And even like some of the Serolians, they've been asking me to actually review that space. So it will be very interesting to see what it's like. And I'm not going to go there and be like, oh, it's amazing, because I don't like to lie to my viewers. I like to give them my honest feedback, and I guess that's the whole point of my food reviews, is giving them honest reviews. And to date, I have not contacted any company so that they could pay me to go to their restaurant and actually review it. And I'm not saying that in the future, if companies approach me, I'm going to say no. No, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, if they approach me, yeah, I can showcase it, but I'm not going to be like, yeah, I'm going to give this one a hit, because I'm lying to my viewers if I do that. Obviously, I make it very, very clear that this is a sponsored video and I'm just showcasing it. You take it however you want to take it. Yeah.
So on that, what one thing, I guess this is a selfish question, is one thing, because I myself have wanted to get into doing more like restaurant reviews, going out and speaking to or just tasting the food and stuff.
Yeah.
One thing I've been very conscious of is I definitely want to keep the channel, the content very positive.
Yes.
Especially in respect of like African or Caribbean food. I try to support the community where I can. And how do you balance that with bad service or bad food? Do you get what I'm trying to say?
I get what you're trying to say, because it's not nice that you go to a place where someone has put their they've put their hard-earned money. This is their business. It could be their livelihood. They're working hard to actually make it grow, and then you've got this person who's just come in with a camera. He's criticized the food, and maybe that person has a very big following, and then that can potentially damage the reputation of that business. I do hear that. To be honest, because my content is surrounded, it's focused on giving honest reviews, honest feedback. I don't want to lie to my viewers. So, you know, if I don't, I mean, I make it very clear that this is my opinion, you know. Doesn't necessarily mean that the next person, the next guy won't like it. But, you know, I will base it solely on my experience on that day, what I ordered, how the service was. I can't sugarcoat it just because, you know, I'm feeling bad because I could potentially damage the reputation of that person. Because if I'm treading on ice, like if I'm trying to be very, very careful about what I say and actually you know, start telling porcupines, people are gonna start saying that my reviews are not real. And what I really love is the fact that there's been very, very few people who have actually said, Riley, we've been to this place that you've recommended and it was good. Like, sorry, what was I lost my train of thought.
You mean that the people that have said something contrary to what you've...
Yeah, contrary to what I've said. There's been that's happened very, 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 very few times. I understand that taste is very subjective. However, you know, even though taste is subjective, there is a general consensus of what is good and what is bad. And I try to just be very open and honest about it.
I think, look, I definitely feel that your videos are very honest, even with the sorry, I forgot the name of the segment. The toilet review of the toilet.
Do you know what? Yeah, like I get some people thinking like, why are you showing this? Like, I want to see the food. Why are you showing me the toilet? Like, that's putting me off. And then other people going, oh, where's the toilet review? Where's the toilet review? Because there may be certain places I go to and I don't feature it. And I guess the idea stemmed from the fact that if the toilet is in a good condition, then that kind of says something about the hygiene in the restaurant as a whole. That's where the idea came from. And it's just been a thing where I've just carried on with it. I mean, you know, you can find a toilet that's in a state, and that doesn't necessarily mean that the kitchen doesn't have good hygiene. But, you know, some people are very, very particular. You know, if they see a restaurant and the toilet's not in a good state, they don't want to go to that. They don't want to go to that restaurant. So I guess it's still an important, I guess, aspect to know about.
Yeah, I guess like some people, you could look at it as my maths teacher used to use the saying, thin end of the wedge. If that's where it's starting, the toilet's not clean, where could it lead to when it gets bigger, so to speak? So yeah, I can kind of get that. So you have been doing this YouTube, this social media thing for a while now. Like when did you first start?
January 2016.
2016. Do you have, I guess, for our listeners listening that's like want to get into like food vlogging or anything like that, do you have any advice for them listening in terms of like building the channel, growing communities, that kind of thing?
Well, the first and the most important thing is like, do you actually have a passion for you know, trying out food and reviewing it? Because if you don't have a passion for that, just forget it. There has been many times when I have been discouraged or disheartened, rather, not discouraged, disheartened, like, you know, I'm just thinking this is long. You know, you put something out and it's only getting 100 views. And it's like, sometimes you just feel, what's the point? But then, like I was mentioning earlier, you see the comments, what people say, and it make you feel like, right, I have to keep doing this, because there may come to that certain point where the channel could explode. And if you stop, you're never going to really attain that. So for me, it's just consistency and working at being better. That's one thing I've always challenged myself. I've always challenged myself to make the content better with the limited resources I do have. And it's always nice looking back, watching your older videos, because I do that from time to time. I watch my old videos and I'll see how like I've grown. I'll see the growth is quite large, but at the same time, I have an idea of where I want to be, because I'm not quite there yet in terms of just the way the whole layout of the show is. It's not where I want it to be. I want it to look very refined and polished. So yeah, my advice would just be consistency, and you know, you need to have the passion for it, because there will be days where you feel like it's long, and sometimes, you know, I'll have a lot of footage to go through, and editing it can just feel like a mammoth task. You know, I do recall one of the worst editing experiences I had was when I did a video for it's called Battle of the Colas.
Okay. Oh, you had. I remember. I saw that video. And you had. He does speaking.
Sully Breaks.
Yes.
And I had Goku London on there.
Yes.
So Goku London, he's another food vlogger based in London, and then obviously Sully Breaks, he does spoken word.
Spoken word. That's it. Yeah.
Very, very big in the scene. So what was difficult, what was challenging about that was we were using 2 different cameras with different log profiles. So like obviously the images looked very different, and then also we're using 2 different recorders, which is a no-no. You should really record from one source. And then another problem I had with it was that it kept cutting out because we were using DSLRs as opposed to camcorders.
Oh, okay.
It was a nightmare to edit it because I had to sync everything. Yeah. The sound and the video was separate. I had to sync them because it was just a big mess. And then try and get the colors right. And I'm doing this on iMovie.
Oh, wow.
Not on Final Cut Pro.
Yeah.
And with iMovie, you're very restricted with what you can do with the colors. It took me forever to edit it and, you know, chop it up so that it's not boring and it's very snappy. And then, you know, in the end, doing it, the video now has maybe 300 views. So seeing that can be very disheartening, that you put maximum effort to making a video engaging, interesting, but it's not getting that traffic.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean, because I've sat there, used the camera, done this, and then it doesn't get that many views. But you know what? I don't know. You can tell me if you relate to this. Sometimes I'll look back at a video that I've done maybe a year ago. There's some videos I've turned off. You know, you can hide videos on YouTube. Yeah. And I think back and think, I was too overcritical on myself. Do you ever get that?
Yeah. Definitely. It's funny though, because some of the videos that actually get a lot of views are the ones that, for me, I feel like it was minimal effort. Like, for example, the fried chicken. And the funny thing about that is, I get a lot of smack about people saying, "Oh, you copy Chicken Connoisseur, blah blah blah." The funny thing is, those videos dropped before he went viral. So the funny thing was, when I dropped those videos, in fact, before I dropped them, it was being promoted on Instagram. And one of the people commented on it, said, "Oh, you should do a collab with this guy called Four Wing." He had a different Instagram name. I can't remember what, Four Wing something. And I went on it, and I was seeing his Instagram. Then I went on his YouTube, and I was watching. I was like, "Oh, this guy's quite funny." And at the time, I think he had maybe 4 videos then, and he had maybe 12,000 subscribers or something like that. He didn't have that many views. And I was thinking, oh yeah, but we've wrapped up this video. Maybe we will do something in the future, obviously. And then after that video dropped, when my video dropped, it didn't get no love, just like my other videos. And at the time, I didn't even have, I only just had like 100 subscribers then. So most of my videos were getting like maybe 20, 30 views. And this one got just about maybe 300 views. So for me, that was quite successful. But then he went viral, and then all that traffic was filtering over to my page. Then people started seeing mine, and then they're thinking I copied him, when in fact, it was just 2 separate things. And obviously you see my channel, it's not about fried chicken, it's about restaurants as a whole. And really, I don't do content like that. It was actually Sully Breaks' idea for me to do that. Okay. It was like, do that because it will cater more to the young ones. I was like, okay, let's do it, because I'm open-minded, let's try new things. Did it, and now I think the first video's got like maybe 70,000 views. So yeah.
It's interesting. I don't know the exact numbers, but with Chicken Connoisseur, I do remember, I think when he first got a tiny bit of traction in blowing up,
Yes.
I remember looking at his videos, and you can see there was a big gap between the videos, and it wasn't that, I don't remember the exact number. It wasn't a stupid amount of subscribers, and then obviously over time, it just blew up.
Exploded.
But what's interesting, I think, about talking about this, and similar to what you've just said as well, is that you don't know which video is going to be the one that's just going to put you on
the map.
Do you know what I mean? And literally, you could just be going about your business, and then bang, like, rah, like, people want this, I'll make more of it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm saying all this, when what do they say? It's, I'm a better coach than player. I need to be making more videos. I haven't been making more videos. So yeah, that's definitely something that I this weekend, in fact, I want to get into, making more content, because it makes a big difference, stuff like that. So yeah, what's next? Where are you hitting up next? You mentioned you got a backlog of content, right?
Yeah, I got a massive backlog of content. It's at the moment it's all focused around the whole preparations towards the wedding and the honeymoon and all that kind of stuff. So that's a whole backlog of material that I need to just get out there. But obviously, I don't want to make it just focused on that. I still want to stay true to my roots and bring out the food review. So I'll be slotting various different restaurant reviews here and there. As I mentioned earlier, one of the places that I'm really keen on reviewing is Crepes and Cones. Not local to me, but it's not far from me. Obviously, I currently hail from Croydon. And interestingly, just talking about Croydon, there's a lot happening in Croydon in terms of the way it's being regenerated. That's very exciting stuff. So a place like Crepes and Cones, it does make a lot of sense. And one of the plans for me is like, not just with the whole YouTube and the videography side, is to eventually hopefully one day have a restaurant of my own.
Nice.
And I'm thinking Croydon would be a perfect place for that, because Croydon is quite a vibrant place. You've got a mix of cultures in there, and there's just so much going on now. And with the plans of building a Westfields in there, with the plans of, well, we already have a box park, and they want to make the area they want to make it the Silicon Valley of London.
Oh, that bit I didn't know.
Yeah, they want to do that. So they're trying to attract a lot of tech companies to come there. So that's why they're building a lot of high-tech offices, trendy offices over there. But it's something that's going to take a matter of years, which works very well for me, because the idea of holding a restaurant, that's not a short-term plan. That's more long-term. But if I can just dial in on the video side and get that right, then I can then focus more on that side and bring more attention to that, because I'm very passionate about food, very passionate about the way restaurants work, and how even just businesses in general, how some make it, how some don't make it, or how some that were established then collapse. Seeing what were the key ingredients that made one said establishment survive, and another one just die, just crash and burn. It's very interesting.
No, definitely. Saying that, I literally just typing into Google now, because I'm listening to an audiobook at a minute by the Shake Shack founder, Daniel Meyer.
Okay.
So I didn't know he has a whole plethora. Am I saying that right? Plethora of restaurants. Plethora.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Plethora
That's
of
all right.
restaurants that he's opened up and stuff. And really fascinated about just learning a bit about his story. His book is quite good so far. I'm listening to that. We spoke about Hakkasan earlier. Alan Yao, I think that's how you say his surname. So he's behind Hakkasan, behind Wagamama, Basaba,
Really?
Itai. Yeah.
Wow.
So he knows his stuff, kind of thing. I think he's sold a lot of those brands off by now. But I'm fascinated about those kinds of people that can just walk in chop it up, and just put out like a great dining or restaurant experience. You know. So yeah, no, definitely. But no, 100% recommend this book.
Okay.
I'll find out the name, but I'll make sure I put it. We've got show notes for this episode, so I'll make sure I put that in the show notes.
Cool.
And I'll put that together. I want to hit you up with some rapid fire, rapid answer questions. You ready?
I think so.
Cool. So, which celebrity would you like to go out to eat with?
Putting me on the spot here. Celebrity.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna say I forgot his name now. How could I have forgotten his name?
Is he an artist or is
He's an actor.
Okay.
Black actor.
We got Google here.
How could I? No, it's actually embarrassing that I've forgotten his name.
What film's he in?
Rock and Roller. He's the one that did
Idris?
Idris Elba.
Okay, cool.
Idris Elba, yeah.
Cool. Where would you take him? What restaurant?
Equally.
What would you order?
I don't know yet.
Oh, you haven't been? I've never been there.
I haven't been.
It looks
but
really good though.
I'm very, very much interested in going there because although it's a Nigerian restaurant, it's not your traditional Nigerian restaurant. They've given it a contemporary twist, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with getting a recipe and messing around with it, and chopping it up and remixing it and presenting it. And obviously, it has that fine dining sort of experience to it. So it'll be interesting to see what that's like. So yeah.
What's your favorite midnight snack?
Midnight snack. Fried chicken.
Is that your favorite midnight snack? Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't really have a particular midnight snack. I just chop up whatever I see. Cool. Whatever I see in the fridge or in the oven or whatever, I'll just chop it up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there like a chef out there whose like style of cooking that you really like? In a minute.
To be honest, I don't really follow chefs too much. Obviously, about the famous ones like your Heston Blumenthal, your what's his name, the one that shouts a lot.
The F word.
The F word.
Ramsay.
Yeah, Gordon Ramsay. But I don't really follow chefs. I do find quite interesting about the fact that Heston Blumenthal invented the triple cooked chips.
Oh, was it him that made it?
He invented it.
Okay.
And he's kind of like a scientist when it comes to food, so that's quite interesting. I haven't been to any of his restaurants, but that's something that I do want to tick off my bucket list.
Cool. Is Heston the bald one with the glasses?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Is he the one with the fat? Is it the fat duck?
I think so. Yes. I think that's owned by him. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Define good food.
Good food.
Yeah.
It's food that's, time has been put into it, a lot of love, a lot of attention. It's got seasons in it, flavor. When I'm saying seasoning, I'm not just talking about black pepper and salt. I'm talking, proper seasoning.
Yeah.
You got your cayenne pepper there, you got your Scotch bonnet, you got your turmeric powder, you got, all sorts of different things, parsley, oregano. All these things in fusion just to make it pop.
Yeah.
And I'm not afraid of experimenting in the kitchen and seeing certain spices and just throwing them in there and seeing what it tastes like. And yes, there's been times there where I've put things together and it's been horrid, but you learn from your experience. And yeah.
What dish should everybody try before they die?
Jollof rice with soya beef or goat or whatever, soya meat, jollof rice, moi moi.
Getting real animated in your seat right now.
Maybe even some, we call it ewa, which is like beans. It's I think it's honey beans. It's stewed with tomatoes and onions and sweet corn. Very delicious.
Yeah.
Yes,
Cool.
You need to try that before you die.
Good stuff. But yeah, no, I want to thank you for an amazing interview today and being our guest on the Black Food Tales podcast. How can the people find you on the socials, on YouTube or wherever? How can we get in contact with you?
Okay, well, there's my Google mail, which is riley.serola@gmail.com. Serola, Serola. I don't actually have a website yet, but that's something that I am working on. Obviously, my main social hub is my YouTube channel, so that's youtube.com/Riley Serola. Again, I have Instagram as well. Again, that's Riley Serola. I've tried to use Twitter. I don't really like Twitter. I don't like it. I have a Facebook as well, but it's just there for the sake of just being there. So it's just the Instagram and YouTube really.
You on Snapchat?
I'm not on Snapchat.
Okay, cool.
I'm not on Snapchat. That might change, but I've been really opposed to it of late. Just, I'm a bit stubborn. I'm just like, what's the point? I know why people jump on it, but
yeah.
I'm just stubborn at the moment.
That's all good, man. All good. But yeah, I want to thank you again for being our guest today. Everything that we've spoken about, I'm going to put like a list of like bullet points of topics that we speak about.
Perfect.
Also link to like your channels and everything on the show notes over at Black Food Tales. Don't forget to hit that up. Thank you.
It's been fun. Thank you.
100%. So if you are listening to this, I want to thank you for taking the time out to listen to another episode of the Black Food Tales. If you did enjoy it, please don't feel shy about sharing it and head over to blackfoodtales.com/008 if you're interested in any of the show notes. Until next time, we'll see you guys next week.